My name is Madison. You probably noticed already that something seems off about me. It's all my leg's fault. I lost it and now I have to use a prosthesis. Of course, my life changed after the accident, but you have no idea just how much. Subscribe to the channel and I will tell you my story that is both sad and happy. Until recently, I had been just an ordinary girl. By that, I mean that I had 2 beautiful legs, a great figure, and a cute face. I was going to college and studying law. But what I really wanted was to become a professional model. I imagined myself at cool photo shoots, on the covers of fashion magazines, and catwalks of fashion events. Of course, I tried to fulfill my dream. I took part in all sorts of auditions organized by major modeling agencies. But to no avail. They kept telling me, "Yes, you are beautiful, but there are a lot of girls like you. We're looking for someone special." It was all very sad. However, I didn't give up. I created my own beauty channel and posted photos and videos of myself there. I was hoping to gain popularity among ordinary netizens, but I was in for a disappointment once again. I only got a few subscribers and even fewer views. One day I was coming back from yet another unsuccessful audition, lost in thought. What was wrong with me? Why couldn't I get even the smallest chance to prove myself? I was so upset that I didn't see anything around me. That's why I didn't notice a car rushing at me at a terrible speed. At some point, the driver lost control and the car skidded off the road. When I saw it right in front of me, it was already too late. The car hit me so hard I was sent sprawling on the pavement. I thought that something had happened to my leg as I couldn't feel it. The last thing I saw before I passed out was a terrified guy getting out of the car and looking at me. I thought he was going to help me, but he just backed away, quickly got back into his car and took off down the street. After that, I finally lost consciousness and could only distantly hear some passerby shout for someone to call an ambulance. I came to in a hospital. Oh, I felt horrible. I was aching all over. My mom was sitting next to me holding my hand and waiting for me to wake up. As soon as she saw that I'd opened my eyes, she immediately started to cry and said, "Madison, my baby girl, I'm so sorry." It took me some effort to say I was fine. I didn't want to upset my mother. However, after hearing my words, she only cried harder. Something was clearly wrong. I carefully lifted my head and examined my body. I felt scared. The hospital blanket where my leg should have been lay flat. "Mom, what's wrong with me?" I asked, scared. A doctor came up to my bed and explained. He said he was sorry, but my leg had been badly damaged in the accident and had to be amputated. I couldn't believe it. No, no, no! I kept screaming through my tears. The doctor even had to give me a sedative to calm me down and make me go to sleep. However, the nightmare followed me into my dreams. That's how I became disabled. A young, beautiful girl, but with only one leg. What could be sadder? I sat in my room and didn't go anywhere. I had to drop out of college. My mom was taking care of me. I didn't know what to do with my life. After all, no one would say that I was beautiful or love me anymore. Most of all, I was angry with the guy who had hit me with his car and driven away. Maybe if he'd taken me to the hospital right away, I would have been all right now. I wanted to know why he'd acted that way and, of course, punish him for what he had done. The police were looking for him, but he had been very lucky. None of the passerby remembered his car's license plate number, and there were no surveillance cameras there. The police had no leads. And they told me honestly, when we were talking on the phone, that it would be practically impossible to find him. But I absolutely had to meet him. So I hired a private investigator. It was a young man, a little older than me. His name was Tyler. The detective listened to my terrible story and seemed to feel genuinely sorry for what had happened to me. He promised he would find the scoundrel and bring him to me. However, it could take a long while, so I had no choice but to sit and wait for news from him. After a couple of weeks, I got bored with sitting in my room. I also calmed down a bit and accepted that I would now have to live with just one leg. When my mom brought me a prosthesis, I started to learn to walk again. At first it was very hard. I even fell a few times. However, over time, I got better and better at it. I began to go further and further away from home on my walks. Sometimes Tyler kept me company. He would tell me about how his search for that driver was progressing. He started talking a lot. And not just about my case. I told him about my dream of becoming a model, which alas would not come true. And Tyler told me that his dream was to become a professional photographer. However, to earn money, He had had to take up the detective gig, which he didn't actually enjoy. Tyler and I had a lot in common, and it was really nice to simply talk to him. After a while, I learned to walk with the prosthesis as easily as if it were my real leg. I started putting on makeup and taking care of myself again. Tyler noticed it right away. He said I was very pretty and looked like a real model. Even though I don't have a leg? I asked sadly. Tyler said it didn't make me any less beautiful. He had a camera with him and offered to take some pictures of me. The beach we were walking on looked very beautiful that day, and I agreed. Tyler took a bunch of photos of me in different poses. I looked at them and, unexpectedly, liked them. Tyler definitely had a talent for photography. When I got home, I posted those photos on my beauty channel. I didn't care what my followers would say about them. I liked them. But then something incredible happened. In just a day, the number of my subscribers skyrocketed. Everyone commented how beautiful and brave I was. It felt so nice. Could it be because of my prosthetic leg? I decided to take more photos, and then some more. Tyler helped me with the backgrounds and lighting. Before we noticed it, we became a real team. After a while, I became popular on the internet. Many of my pictures started to appear in other resources. Everyone was saying that I had an unusual beauty. One day, when I was choosing outfits for a new photo shoot, I got a call. It was an agent of a large modeling company. He said that their management had seen my pictures on the internet and wanted to offer me a contract. I couldn't believe my ears. They had noticed me. Of course, I hated that I had to get into an accident and lose my leg to achieve that. Still, my dream of becoming a model was about to come true. I went to meet the management of the modeling agency with Tyler. They told me they liked how original I looked and offered to work together. I could barely contain my joy, but I said I would only agree if Tyler was my personal photographer. Naturally, they agreed. That same evening, we celebrated our success. Tyler kept apologizing for failing to find the guy who had hit me with his car, but I said he had done something even better, made my dream of becoming a model possible. I was overjoyed and even kissed the detective as a thank you. He seemed ecstatic. Since then, a new life began for us. During the day, we worked on the set, and in the evening, we went to all sorts of fashion parties. We were a real glamorous couple. You heard that right. Tyler became my boyfriend. I even introduced him to my mom, and she really liked him. Long story short, I was happy. I was doing what I loved and had a boyfriend who liked me for who I was. But that's not all. One evening, I was sitting at home and resting after a photo shoot. That day had been exhausting, but pleasant. My photos were supposed to appear on the cover of the most fashionable magazine. I imagined how millions of people would be admiring me soon. All of a sudden, I heard a knock on the door. Who could it be? I opened it, and my blood ran cold. It was him, the scoundrel who had hit me with his car. The terrible memories came rushing back again. I saw myself lying on the sidewalk, remembering the hard days in the hospital and the terrible depression that I had barely managed to get rid of. I wanted to slam the door in his face that very second, but he begged me to hear him out. I decided to give him a chance to explain. He walked into the house and said his name was Joss. He had been looking for me for a long time, but only managed to find out my address after seeing my face on a fashion magazine poster. "What do you want?" I asked angrily. "Do you want to see how people live with one leg?" Joss sighed heavily and said that he was deeply sorry for what he had done. He had got really scared when he hit me. That's why he hadn't been thinking and had run away from the crime scene. For a long time, he had been afraid that one day the police would come for him. However, weeks had passed and no one had come. Joss had realized that he had gotten away with it. But he couldn't have been more wrong. Fate had punished him after all. First, he had been fired from his job. Then he had lost his parents in a plane crash. He believed those hadn't been coincidences. It was as if someone invisible had been taking revenge on him for what he had done. He realized that he could not escape punishment and started to look for me to confess everything. "I know I've ruined your life, and I'm ready to go to the police and get punished for it," he said. The only thing he asked was that I forgive him. After those words, I started thinking about it. Of course, if it hadn't been for the accident, I wouldn't have fulfilled my dream of becoming a model. But on the other hand, if I had the chance to get my leg back and lose popularity, I would not hesitate for a second. Unfortunately, that is not possible. What should I do? Should I forgive this guy or punish him? Write in the comments down below. And remember that health is the most valuable thing you have.